Just asking you to say your name and what you do, and then you can talk about. You can just continue. You can talk about your military experience.
Okay.
And then we'll take it from there. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
So you want me to give you my name and my serial number?
Yeah, but these are different days now. They might be able to take your serial number and get into your bank account.
Yeah.
So don't give the real one. Okay, go ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Franklin Mendez. I'm a Marine. I joined the Marine Corps right after high school, and I served 4 years in the Amphibian Tractor Battalion. And I had a wonderful tour. Very few people will say that, but I had a great Marine Corps tour. I did all the things that I wanted to do. I was discharged as a sergeant. I was a platoon sergeant at my last duty station. So I enjoyed it. I had a great time, and spent my time in Vietnam was from 1964 to 1965. I was with the 3rd Marine Division, 1st Amphibian Tractor Battalion. And after getting back to the States, I went on a Mediterranean cruise and enjoyed 6 months in Europe, and that was a great vacation because most of the crew chiefs, and there's 10 of us, and there's 10 vehicles per platoon, were all Vietnam veterans. So we were having a really great vacation after our tour in Vietnam, and that was a very special time for me because we were able to sort of wash out some of the experiences that we had and listen to people that had some issues and talk with one another and help one another. So it was a great 6 months to be with a bunch of Vietnam veterans and had a great time. Came back and pretty much ended up my tour in Camp Lejeune, got out and went to work.
So you are a renowned artist. I mean, we just love your work. And the thing I love about what you do is, I mean, no matter what you paint, if it's portraits, if it's landscapes, it's just so beautiful. So tell us a little bit about how you got involved in painting.
It goes back to my early days in grade school. I believe that there was a time when I was given the opportunity to draw a pig on the bulletin board, and I draw the best looking pig in the class. So that was an opportunity for me to test myself to see how good I was against everybody else. And I guess that was the beginning, and it escalated after that. I mean, I didn't do art every year in every class, but in the 7th grade, I won 2nd place citywide with one of my pieces of art in junior high school. When I was in high school, I won 1st place citywide, and that was the Wellesley Junior Art Show. I beat everybody in town. So I felt pretty comfortable that I could paint, that I could draw, that I was okay. So I kept trying to pursue that. And of course I didn't have any money to go to college, so I joined the Marine Corps. As I told you earlier, I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years. And while I was in the Corps, I did a battalion design for the 1st Amphibian Tractor Battalion. Our battalion commander put out a contest. I won the contest and got $50 savings bond and a free meal at the EM Club. And that was a steak dinner, so I enjoyed that. So that was another cool feather in my hat. It's like, okay, you can do this, you can do this. And I kept thinking to myself, now what are you gonna do? So like I said, I went to the Mediterranean on a 6-month cruise, and I painted all of our vehicles with an alligator. And there was 10 vehicles, so there's 2 sides to every 20 pieces of art I did on crossing the Atlantic I did 20 pieces of art on every one of those vehicles, two per vehicle. And I painted an alligator with the word Getsy's Gators. Lieutenant Getsy was our platoon commander, and we were known as Gators because we're amphibious. So we called ourselves Getsy's Gators while we were in Europe. Of course, when you come back, you have to paint over them. You can't bring them back to the States, so that was a bummer. But anyway, yeah, that was another opportunity for me to paint. I also got the captain of the ship, the USS Walworth County, wanted me to paint his gig. He wanted me to put his emblem inside his special private boat. So I had an opportunity to paint that. So I was painting all along the way during my tour, but also thinking, what are you going to do when you get out? What are you going to do when you get out? So that was a big question. So after getting out of the Marine Corps, I came home to Austin, Texas, and I went to the Employment Commission looking for a job. And I told the lady that I was looking for something to do with art, and the lady told me that if I wanted to do something with art, I would have to go to Houston or Dallas. That Austin, Texas had nothing in the employment industry dealing with art. Nothing, absolutely zero. So I said, that's a bummer. So then as I was leaving, she says, oh, by the way, there's a company coming to town next week. It's a ring company. Would you like to sign up to interview with them? I didn't know what she was talking about, but I said, of course. So the following week I went and I applied with the ring company, and believe it or not, they needed artists. So there I landed right in the lap of an artist in need in Austin, Texas. So I didn't have to leave town. I stayed in town, and I was employed with this company, and I started my art all over again. So yeah, I spent 35 years designing, and many of those designs were things that I never thought I would have an opportunity to do. And I'll give you, for instance, like the New York Yankees World Series championship rings. I designed all three New York Yankees World Series championship rings. With a guy from the East Side, a little kid from the East Side, designing the New York Yankees World Series championship rings. That was never heard of. It's like these opportunities just fell in my lap. And then you have the Dallas Cowboys. And start working and designing Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl championship rings. So this was my whole life, was designing high-profile professional art stuff, and of course a lot of the many of the Division I colleges and universities across the country, and Division II as well. So I spent 35 years designing Division I, II, and III college rings and professional football, baseball, you name it, college baseball, anything having to do with the championship. I was the director of design, and I was designing all of that stuff for the company, and also competing at the military academies, United States Military Academy at West Point, United States Air Force Academy, in Colorado, the Naval Academy. So I went out and I competed for the business for my company. So yeah, it was a life of art, and I enjoyed it. It was a very pressured pressured kind of art, but it was there, and I learned a lot. But I didn't do. I didn't have time to paint. My painting was set aside, and so I knew that as soon as I retired, I would get back to my painting. I knew that. That was a given. So when I retired, I started my own company. So I decided that it's not time to paint yet. So I started my own company, and I pretty much did the same thing that I was doing before. but I was working for a competitor. I was their designer. So anyway, I did that for another 10, 15, 12, no, 19 years. So, I was in the business almost 50 years, before I started painting again. So, yeah, it was a beautiful life. I really enjoyed doing that stuff. So when I finally shut that one down, that's when I started painting. And it took a long time for me to give up what I call my plastic and my pencil, which is your French curves and your straight edges, your triangles, your French curves, your ship's curves, things that I used that were technical drawings. I had a hard time getting away from a technical drawing. I couldn't get loose. I couldn't get into a loose brushstroke. So I took courses, I took classes with different people. I spent about 3 years with a very good instructor. She was very instrumental in getting me to loosen up my stroke.
What was her name?
You would have to ask me that. Glenda Buring. Glenda Buring was her name. And then after Glenda, I migrated over to Delhart Winberg, and I started working with the Winbergs, and that was an eye opener, because I met the master eye to eye, and it's like, oh my God, this guy is a master, and I'm sitting in his studio, and it was so cool. That's like, I just was overwhelmed that I was in the company of this master artist, and I could actually learn something from it. So yeah, it was that was my my getting back to my art. So yeah, so ever since then I've been painting, and pretty much I teach myself. I do a lot of reading, I do a lot of research, and I pick my artists that I like to follow, and I see what they do, and I try not to copy them, but I try to learn from what they do. So yeah, it's been a great, for me it's been great. I just enjoy it. One of the things that I find that is important to talk about here is the fact that in my 35, maybe 49 years in the business of doing design work, I was kept so busy that I had no time to fall into the trap of the post-traumatic stress. Once all of that stopped, I fell into that post-traumatic stress syndrome, and I had to figure out a way to get my head out of that hole. And one of the ways that I do that is by painting. So painting and doing portraits and landscapes and just painting anything that I can is my medicine for taking care of me and making sure that shadow that's in the back of my head that wants to surface as a Vietnam memory stays pushed down. So that's how I keep it pushed down. I paint, focus myself on things that I don't want to think about. I don't want to think about Vietnam. I don't want to think about the horror stories. I don't want to think about any of that. I want to think about what do I have to do to make this painting look good. So that's it's a way to heal yourself, heal the inner wounds, I call it. Heal my inner wounds. That's a good way to say it, and I enjoy it. It's gotten to the point where it's enjoyable. It's an enjoyable thing to do.
Your art is amazing. You are a master artist yourself. I heard what you were saying about the other gentleman, but I'm an artist myself, and when I think of you, it's like I want to get an opportunity to come and sit down. Like you said something the other day about layers, and I was like, "What is that?" And and that just told me you got a lot to learn here. So at some point, I really want to do that. I wanted to ask you, because this is very interesting to me. You have painted a lot of Vietnam veterans, and you created like I think it's like an organization, a meet group, or something like that. I'm probably getting it wrong, but can you tell me about that?
It's really not an organization. It's a group of veterans that meets for breakfast on Thursday morning. I mean, they were doing it before I joined them. I mean, I came in at the 5th or 6th year. We're going on almost 20 now of meeting every Thursday morning and having breakfast. And people come and talk to us because we're so many. I mean, we have 25, maybe 30 veterans with their wives, and we take up a lot of space in a restaurant. Luckily, we have a restaurant that is allowing us to take up the space because there is very little business on Thursday morning, that we're probably the 95% of the business of that restaurant. So, you know, it's a win-win situation. It's a win for us and a win for the owner. So, you know, he's very happy that we're there. He smiles at us every day, every time we arrive, and it's a group of veterans, and we have no leaders. We have no organization. You just come and you go as you please. There's no captain, there's no president, there's no commander, there's no nothing. And like I said earlier, people come and talk to us and want to know who the head guy, you know, where's the officers of the organization. And we look around, we have none. We have no officers. This is just a breakfast group. And yeah, it's because of that, it's existed so long, because nobody's in charge of nothing.
So
Yeah.
could you introduce me to some of these wonderful veterans that whom you painted? Like some of them, I feel like I could just reach out and touch their hand.
Funny you should say. I had breakfast with all of these guys yesterday, with the exception of this guy.
Hold it.
Oh, I'll pick it up. I'll pick it
Okay.
up. With the exception of this guy, David. David is Alonso is taking care of his wife Lily. So he didn't show up, but they're there every Thursday morning. Okay, so yeah, David's. He was the one that invited me to join that breakfast group. Okay.
And who is this guy down here?
This guy down here is Andres Bernal. Andres is believe it or not, he was a retired chief of police from Laredo, Texas. He was the airport chief that was in charge of security at the airport in Laredo, Texas.
Wow.
He was Army, and he served his tour in Vietnam. So yeah, he's a great guy, and he's there every Thursday.
Most of the guys that are in your breakfast are Vietnam veterans. Is that correct?
All of them are.
All of them are.
Yeah.
Who's this guy down here?
This here is Ray Garcia. Ray Garcia is a retired Master Sergeant, United States Marine Corps. And great guy. Ray is retired from the IRS, I believe, or is it? No, the federal government, but it's not the IRS. It's anyway. He was federal government employee. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but you know, he retired. But he's a great guy, and he's the oldest one of our group, and he's an E8. So he's
wow.
the highest ranking guy we have. So far.
So far, okay. And this smart looking gentleman here.
This is Tony.
I love your technique. I mean, these guys look like, they look like that they're painted even at the right size. I can't imagine. Is that the size of his actual head there?
I don't know. I have no idea. This is Tony. When I was asking these guys if I could paint their portraits, I told them, wear anything you want. I'm not telling you what to wear. I'm not going to dress you. I'm not going to prop you up. Wear whatever you want. And so you can see that they wear anything they want. Some are in t-shirts, some are in all of this. So Tony wears a leather vest a T-shirt that's got a war bonnet, a Native American with a war bonnet. The vest has all of these patches, and then he wears a necklace that's got this complicated design of a dragon. So I look at this picture and I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Look at all of that I have to paint. I said, why did I tell him he could wear anything? You know, why did I say that? But anyway, it came out okay. He liked it. I think it turned out okay.
Beautifully done.
Yeah.
Beautifully done.
So, yeah, these will be at our show. Mm-hmm. All of these will be displayed at the 50th anniversary show that we're having on the 8th of November. Mm. And yeah, it was a fun deal. I enjoyed painting every one of them.
I love how you handle the glasses. I have problems with that sometimes. The glass in glasses.
This guy here was funny. This is Don Griffin. Don, as a matter of fact, lived in my neighborhood when I was on 6th Street. He lived on 7th and I lived on 6th at the same time. His dad was in the service at Bergstrom.
Wow.
So he's the barrio guy, and he's like the rest of us. He lived in the barrio with the rest of us. He came down from Boston. He was up in Boston. Went to school in Boston, but he came. His dad was in Bergstrom. He was in the area, and I didn't find this out until later. But it's like, hey, let's go see your house. So one day we drove up to 7th Street. We walked into the restaurant, and he said, "This is where I used to live." And he told the lady that owned the restaurant, "This is where I used to live."
Wow.
So he was, recollecting all of that. So it was pretty cool. So when I showed him the picture, he says to me, "You paint everything you see, don't you?" I didn't know how to take that. I said, "How do I take that? Do I paint everything I see?" I try. He says, "Well, that morning I was shaving, and I just happened to shave a little bit of a mustache under my nose, and put a little bit more than I wanted to. So you even painted that little bare spot where I shaved it off." And I'm like, I thought that's the way it was. He said, "No, I shaved it off this morning." So I'm like,
that morning.
"Sorry, Don."
Yeah, that's great.
It stays that way. So yeah, Don's a great guy.
Wonderful portrait work that you do.
And I like painting. I like painting glasses. That's really something I enjoy doing. The glasses give you the character of that makes you. That makes this guy. If I had to paint it Don without glasses, it wouldn't have been Don.
Wouldn't have been Don.
Don. And one of the things that I find is you look at a person's face, and there's something about that face that makes that person. You find that the ticks, and you get those ticks right, and you got him. I don't care what you do with the rest of the face, but if you get those 3 things right, you got him.
The ticks. What do you mean by the ticks?
If you look at the eyes, if you look at the nose, and if you look at the mouth, and if you look at what's around there, okay, what makes this face look like this person? What differentiates this face from that face? Why do they look different? There's a character about them. Find the character, locate where that character lives, and paint that. And the rest of it will fall in place. You paint the character of the person, the rest of it will fall in place.
One of the things I'm noting about like this guy right here, it seems that you capture more than just what the person looks like. I mean, I know this guy. I feel in looking at the painting, I feel like, okay, I know this person. I know what this person is about. I know this person's personality. And it's just a painting. I can't hear his voice. I can't, but the painting exudes those qualities. And so I think that's amazing.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you. I try very hard to get that. That is part and parcel what makes the difference between a portrait and a portrait.
Now let's talk a little bit about your landscapes.
Oh, I love landscapes. I do landscapes.
Yes, you do.
I do landscapes.
Yes, you
And I
do.
knew you were going to ask me about that. So I thought all of my landscapes, unfortunately, are at the museum or at the show. But I just wanted to show you that I do landscapes.
I think I shot some of your landscapes, and I'll be able to include
Yeah.
some of them in this interview.
Yeah. So I do landscapes. Yeah. I'm not good at them though. I'm not. Honest to God, I'm not good at them. I struggle with landscapes.
You do.
I also do plein air painting. This is a plein air. I was in San Antonio Sunday at Mission Espada.
Mission Inspired.
The Oil Painters of America had a paint out, and I went to the paint out, and this is what I did on Sunday, sitting at my easel in front of this church, and this is what I painted. So I do. I also do what we call plein air painting. Okay.
That's called plein air painting.
Yeah, because
the
you're
paint out is when a bunch of artists paint the same
Yes,
thing.
we had about 15 artists gather, and they painted different parts of the mission. And then we got together at the Heinz Gallery, and they were judged, and they were awarded first, second, and third place. It's a big deal.
Wow.
I didn't win anything, but yeah, I saw some really good artists come up with some really good work.
That guy that I sent you one of his videos, Kurt.
Yeah.
He does those, and he was trying to encourage me to do it. I said, one day I'll do it, but I'm just so busy. But I mean, what you do with glasses, like I'm looking at this gentleman over here, is just, that's one of the things that befuddles me a lot of time, right? I'll show you some of my work where I painted glasses. They don't look nothing like that, and I want to learn that technique.
It's so easy, and one of
is?
these days I'll show it to you.
Okay.
It's
Thank
easier
you.
than you think.
Okay.
Easier than you think. And I also do genre stuff, I mean, I wanted to do a ballerina because, ballerinas have been done by some of the best artists, and I just wanted to test myself to see if I could do that. And it's a test to me, can I do that? Can I make the material look like it's translucent? Can I get the action pose? Can I get the color? Can I get the look and the expression on her face completely done? And I'm testing me. It's all I do. It's all I do is I test myself to see what I can do. Once I get it done, if I like it, and if I think I did a good job, then I check that off because I've done it. And I probably will never do another ballerina again.
I really love the translucency and the sleeves and her whole form. I mean, I think that it's a powerful piece, and your ability. Look at the dress. I mean, just the activity of the dress alone is like, wow. I mean, it seemed like you spent a long time on just the dress alone. The folds.
It was a long time.
It was a long time.
Yeah.
You dedicated.
But it takes that to get that. It takes. Okay. As far as my Vietnam experience goes, I was in Chulai, Vietnam when I arrived, and I was with the first platoon, Bravo Company, 1st Amphibian Tractor Battalion. And one thing that I have a hard time telling people and actually making them really understand this is that there were no parameters at the time. We had no history. There was no one before us. Maybe there were a lot of other what do you call them, trainers or people that were in there with the jungle, in the jungle and all of that. But as far as units in country, there weren't any that we could look at and say, what are they doing? How do they do that? What do you do today? You know, how do you do this and how do you do that? There was none. We had to figure it all out. And we were told up front, do not shoot at anybody unless you are shot at. So that was kind of scary, because it's like we didn't know that we were going into a hot zone. We just had no idea. When we left the ship, we were told we were going to be there for a week, and we were going to get picked up, and we were going to move on. And that's history. That was something that they told us, but we all know that it's not the way it happened. So it was a very strange experience for me, because we had no idea what we were doing. So our unit was an amphibian tractor unit, and we had no operational orders, 0 operational orders that I am aware of. We were assigned 2 vehicles per company, per line company. They just said, the platoon sergeant said, you two guys drive out to Lima Company and support the captain. Okay, so what does that mean to Rudy in the rear rank with a rusty rifle? What does that mean? So we drive out to Lima Company, and they're on the MLR, and check in with the captain and say, hey, we're here. What do you want us to do? And, he would say something like, just hang out. And what do you do? Just hang out. And they had, the foxholes were not 25 yards away from us, and that was a main line of resistance. That was a line of resistance, and we were 25 yards away from that. And we had no idea how dangerous it was, because we had nothing to base it on. So we hung out, and the next day he might say, all right, we're going to do a search and destroy mission. So you 2 guys, we're going to put two squads on your vehicles, and we're going out and we're going to do a search and destroy mission. So we would go out and do that, come back, and we did that time and time again. We were going all over the place. Of course, we would hit pockets of resistance and get into small arms fire, things of that nature, and there was always shooting. Shooting was prevalent. Somebody was shooting at us, somebody was hiding in a tree, taking pot shots at us. So anyway, we were always under fire. So, but luckily, very few ever got hit, that I remember. Until about July, the end of June, when we made a big company-sized operation, and that's when it really happened. That's when I saw the bullets. That's when I actually killed 2 people, and they were shooting at us, and I took them out. And they also took out, I had to go collect 2 bodies that were Marines. I had to go past their position to get to the Marines to extract them and bring them back to base camp. And the lieutenant that took me into that hot spot, he himself didn't make it out that afternoon. So at the end of the day, my vehicle's got 3 dead bodies in it, and I'm hauling it back to the beach and trying to get to my tent so I can go to sleep. I'm tired of all this nonsense all day long. But yeah, that was a big day. It was a day of recollection. It was a day that you really saw the reality of what we were doing. People were trying to kill us, and you were trying to kill them. And if you didn't kill them, they would kill you.
So it was like that day that the harsh reality of war really hit.
That's when I saw that. That was the day that I saw it firsthand. I had the bodies. I had the bullets. I had pulled the trigger on somebody. I had done it all that one day. I had used my machine gun to defend myself and the other group. the other Marines that were pinned down by this machine gun nest, and I took them out. And then we picked up the people that they had taken out. So yeah, that was the day we exchanged I guess the baptism of fire is what they call it, you know. So, but that day is etched in my memory, you know. I can recall every minute of it, and I try not to. But I wanted to say it today. I wanted to get it out of me, and maybe get it out and just be done with it, you know. So yeah, something you had to do.
That's that's a very difficult position. We put young men. You were a young man at that time in, and you know it's unfortunate we have to defend ourselves, and especially when we see when we're under attack. You know, you really left no choice. It's kill or be killed. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering, and what you just, that was, you know, thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you for being the kind of person that you are, for putting yourself in a position like that as a Marine. Because I know when you joined, you knew that this was a possibility.
Oh yeah.
And I always say, to me, veterans are so beautiful because they put themselves, they volunteer, or they go into a situation where they say, I'm going to do this, and they know that they could suffer harm, mm-hmm. that they could be killed, and they do that for people that they don't even know. They do it for God and country. Mm-hmm. And on that level where you are at that time, not only are you doing it for God and country, but you're doing it for your men, the people, your friends, your comrades. So that's a difficult situation. And thank you for for what you did, what you had to do, and thank you for sharing that with us.
And it was like you said, once you sign the dotted line and you raise your hand and you swear the oath, you're there. You have made a commitment to do what you got to do, and all the training that you get is geared to do what you got to do. So there's no question about what you have to do. When the time comes, you just do it because you've been trained to do and react to that particular instance and situation, and you act and react exactly the way you've been trained.
Has art helped you to process your PTSD and things that you had to go through?
Art is at this time in my life, art is the one, I believe, is the one solid healer of my PTSD. It is the one solid healer of my inner wounds, because I spend so much time thinking about what I got to do, what I have to do, and that's probably why you don't see me painting landscapes only. Probably why you don't see me painting portraits only. Probably why you see me painting in anything and everything I want, because it is not about the painting as much as it is about me keeping myself focused and challenged and keeping myself in a situation where there is an unknown. What is it going to end up with? What am I going to end up with? Am I going to be able to conquer this question that I have? So it keeps my mind busy, and it keeps me active on figuring out how to do some of these things that I do. And if you asked me to do them again, I probably couldn't do them again. Because I did them at a time when it was a stress and it was a learning curve. And once I learned it, I can move on. So today I can paint a portrait pretty fast. I've learned a lot. I
want to ask you about this piece that you're wearing on your neck. What is that?
That is a gift. a gift that was given to me by I believe the tribe is the.
Can you hold it up?
It's the northern tribe, the Iroquois tribe, but they're the Onondaga tribe, something like that. Anyway, the story behind this is that a Marine friend, a Marine buddy, was hurt. And in the course of 40 years, he had absolutely no help from anybody, even the VA. So in those 40 years, he struggled with the damage that was done to his legs when an amphibian tractor squeezed him up against the bulkhead of a ship. His platoon commander, who is my friend, located quite a few of us amphibious tractor battalion veterans, and he put out an APB, for instance. We need to support this guy because he has no help. And I mean, the money came in, and he sent him the money, and he was able to recoup, at least get by. At the same time, somebody picked up his case and took it into the VA and advocated for him because he wasn't getting anywhere himself. So there was a big time guy advocating for him at the VA. And I think we collected I don't know, maybe $5,000 or something like that. I don't know the exact number. But he got the money. He was able to pay the rent. He was able to survive. And the VA check came when he ran out of money.
Wow.
So we held him up and we kept him from going to the poorhouse for I don't know how long.
Was he 100% disabled?
Yeah. So as time went on, we stayed in touch. He stayed in touch with everybody. And when he passed away, his sister made this for me and made one for my buddy that did the fundraiser.
Wow.
In appreciation for helping him when he was down. So this is what this is all about. It's about helping one another. It's about supporting our veterans. It's about supporting our buddies and our brothers. We're all brothers.
Yes.
So yeah, that was a beautiful, and it was a surprise to me. And these are handmade. You don't buy these.
Wow.
This was custom made. They made two of them. One for Joe and one for me. And so I wear it with pride. I mean, I wear it because I know the story and I know what they went through to make sure that they showed me that I didn't need to be showed. I did it because I loved the guy.
Yeah.
And
he's your comrade.
He was one of our Marine veterans, and
yeah.
He was one of our Marine, a battalion guy, so we loved him. Anyway, they made it for us to show us that they really cared about what we did, and so yeah, that's a beautiful story.
Fantastic. We're going to be wrapping up in a minute. This could go on forever.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it so much. Thank you, Frank, for inviting us into your home and just for allowing us to be able to capture this, which we're going to share. I want to ask you about this painting right here that's sitting beside you. I'm going to pan over to this bad boy here, and can you tell us a little bit, what is this painting here?
This is the Chimayo Chapel in Chimayo, New Mexico. It's north of town. And it's a commission painting for a friend of mine that is he's a restaurateur, and he wants to hang this up in his restaurant. He's opening up a new restaurant in Pflugerville, where you and I and Juanita and Gigi are going to go have dinner as soon as this thing opens up. Yeah, it's gonna hang in his restaurant. So he commissioned me to paint it for him. And I'm almost done. I got a few details I got to put down. I got to sign my name to it. So yeah, It's a 40 inches by 40 inches, and it's a view of the chapel, and that's what they wanted.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is there any last thing that you would like to share with people who see this video?
I would like to say that if you have the ability and you want to do it, art is a way of helping yourself shy away from the memories that you don't want to have. And if you can do art, it doesn't matter what kind of art it is. Pick up a pencil and draw. I tell that to people. Pick up a crayon. I do demonstrations at the Temple Cahill House. I did one a couple of weeks ago for a bunch of veterans there that wanted to see me paint a portrait in 1 hour. And they were all excited about that. And I showed them, not just showed them what I did, but showed them what they can do and how they can do it. And they were all excited about that. So I say, you know, pick up a pencil. Everybody has a pencil. Pick up a piece of paper. Draw anything you want, but work on that. You know, use the art to help you, and that's, I think, you'll get more out of that than you can imagine. It's just something that's very beneficial for everybody. You know, art is a healer.
Before I started painting, I was on medications, and I went to the VA, to the doctor. I started painting. I started feeling a little better, and I realized I missed taking my medication for a couple of days. I was enjoying myself painting so much, I just forgot about it, right? And then I went in, I took the medication, and I realized I was high. And I said, oh my God, this medication is making me, I've been taking it so long, I had forgotten, you know. And so I went to my doctor and I said, I want to get off the medications, because I think I found a way to try to manage what's going on with me. And he told me, he said, well, you can't just stop. I have to wean you off of this medication. And so I said, okay, start weaning. Yeah. And they weaned me off of it, and I've been painting now. Every time I get the blues, the blasés, or just that anxious feeling that I don't know what it is, I paint it out. Yeah. You know, I'm about to go home. I'm painting my mom. But I just want to say thank you. I got to, next time you know, I want to come and learn what you do. I want to learn from you. You're such a treasure. You're a master at what you do. And so please don't forget, the next time you're doing something like that where you're demonstrating to people, don't forget Glenn would love to be there.
Okay.
Okay?
November the 15th, Round Rock.
November the 15th, I live in Round Rock, so that's really
Round
good.
Rock, it's the senior citizen, the park, the Baca Center.
Baca Center, I know exactly where that is, yes. Yeah. So I'll be there.
1 o'clock, 1 to 3.
1 to 3. So
you can be my guest.
Oh.
Because I'm doing it for the Round Rock Art Club.
Okay.
And I'll introduce you as my guest. You'll be there.
Thank you.
And I'm doing the same thing that I did at the temple. I'm painting a portrait in 1 hour.
So everybody, thank you. You're really blessed right now to be able to meet Mr. Franklin Mendez. Thank you for sharing your wonderful story and giving us insights into who you are as a person and art and what art has done for you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
Glad to be here. Guy who
No,
he doesn't
you'll never see it. Yeah, once this thing opens up,
sounds great. You guys can come to our home too. You see, our home is a gallery. It really is. We were talking about